Hey guys, so we're going to take a look at the Ranger pre-awakening absolute skills. Now in order to get a better understanding of these skills, I've enlisted the help of a Ranger main from Alpha, Goldsurge. Looking at these skills for Ranger in particular is going to be quite interesting. The reason for this is that post-awakening, Rangers essentially become a melee class. There hasn't really been a period of time where Rangers have had their absolute skills and been able to play it exclusively as a range class. This is going to be really interesting for a lot of you, and you're going to have quite a lot of fun with this. Range is going to benefit from a lot more damage on top of their already existing burst. So we're going to have a look at the main skills that you should be looking to pick up. Now none of these are going to be set in stone. By all means, if you want to change things around or pick things up depending on your level, then definitely do it. What we've got here on the screen now though is a list of where Goldsurge is going to be putting his points to start with, and a priority list on what skills he wants to pick up. Now it's worth noting that shotgun is right at the top of the list, however you're also going to need level 60 for this, but you'll see that as we go into the skills. Okay, so first on the list we're going to have a look at shotgun. Now shotgun refers to the animation cancelling of your absolute charging wind. Now it gets a little bit confusing because charging wind has two absolute skills available to it. We have absolute charging wind on its own, and we have absolute extreme charging wind. Now the skill that we're focusing on that number one point in your list is the level 60 absolute skill, Extreme Charging Wind. We're going to disregard the normal absolute charging and push that down to 5th on the list. And this is going to be why. Ranger's shotgun skill is essentially what happens when you hit ultimate charging wind and begin to be able to down smash combo people into oblivion. Once you hit 54, you see a slight damage increase and an extra hit on there. However, the damage increase only goes from 219% to 260%. Once you hit level 60 and you can unlock absolute extreme charging wind, the damage goes through the roof. What we're looking at here is the damage increasing from 260% up to 754%, and the extra hit damage goes from 597% to a whopping 1524. Having such a significant damage increase on your main combo is absolutely huge. Shotgun spam is already one of the most deadly things in PvP. Not only in 1v1s but also in group scenarios. You can literally wipe the floor with everybody with this skill. So it's going to be interesting to see how Rangers perform with absolute extreme charging wind and the fact that they don't have awakenings. This is also going to affect how they interact with other classes. Because we don't have awakenings, there's a lack of super armors and frontal guards. I honestly think that once a Ranger picks up absolute extreme charging wind at 60, they're going to be borderline unstoppable. So this is hands down number one on the list. So next up, another bread and butter skill for Ranger, we've got absolute penetrating wind. The beauty of this is you can pick it up at level 58. So if you aren't level 60 yet and you can't get the benefits of the shotgun increased damage, you can have double the damage on penetrating wind. This for 44 skill points is absolutely huge. You're going to go from 631% over 3 hits for the modifier all the way up to a huge 1388% over 4. This is definitely not an insignificant damage increase. Picking this up first, providing that you're below level 60, is going to be your go-to choice. I definitely wouldn't be bumping this any further down the list. It takes the number one spot provided that you can't pick up the level 60 absolute. If however you're not level 58, definitely look to push for this level as soon as you can. Keep skill points saved as well, keeping in mind that the level 60 absolute and penetrating wind together takes 100 skill points already. These absolutes are very, very skill point hungry, so make sure that you have enough saved up and that you have them ready to go as soon as you hit these levels. Okay, so number 3 on the list, Absolute Will of the Wind. Again, it's a level 58, however the skill point requirement is significantly lower on this one. We're looking at 24 skill points. That being said, we're not going to stop following this theme of insane damage modifiers for the Ranger class. The hit damage, we're going to go from 339% up to 847%. That's going to be over the same 10 hits, so nothing changes there. However, the extra hit damage is also going to increase and add an extra hit on top of it. and this one goes from 100% to 381%. That's an extra 281% and an extra attack on top of it. Another huge damage increase and another fantastic absolute skill. From this, you can see that at level 58 is going to be where you predominantly need to have these extra skill points, because at this level alone you're going to need to be picking up 68 additional skill points if you don't already have them. This is just another reason why everybody in Alpha is fully going to town grinding these SP. We're not looking necessarily to level up any higher, but what we are doing is banking the skill points to make sure we can pick up the absolutes. Looking at the fact we don't have Awakening, we're going to be able to pick up absolute skills that we don't necessarily use post Awakening and make full use out of them during this grace period we have between absolutes being released and Awakenings finally coming out on the game. Next, we're going to go on to the fourth skill on our list, which is Absolute Blasting Gust. Now, Absolute Blasting Gust has our lowest level requirement so far at level 57 and a modest 32 skill points. However, for those 32 skill points, you're going to get a huge damage increase. As always with the rest of the Ranger Absolutes, that's one of the main focus. In fact, it's the main focus for pretty much all the Absolutes. The base damage is going to be increasing significantly. So in this case, we're going from 363% up to 907%. We're not gaining any additional attacks on that or any extra hits, but what we are gaining is 20% extra critical hit rate. So it's going to go from 80% to 100%. That alone is going to be fantastic when it comes to a damage increase. For 32 skill points at level 57, it might be a little bit difficult for newer players that have only just hit the level to eke those skill points out. What I would say is make sure that you have your base build before you start picking up things like Absolute Blasting Gust. It's more important that you pick up and round off your build completely before you start adding the absolutes. They really are icing on the cake. However, what you can do if you hit level 60 and you're struggling for skill points is look at where you can trim off skills that you're not going to be using. Having the absolute skills before Awakening is a really strange balancing act. It's something that you're going to have to decide on as an individual where you want to take points from and add points in. It's not something that we can necessarily put down in just a simple guide. There's no clear cut, do this, and do this. Unfortunately, because skill points are going to be at a premium in the game, you're going to have to make decisions for yourself. So looking back at this list, I haven't covered all 10 skills in this top 10 list from Goldsurge. What I have done though is go into a little bit of detail on why these top 4 are the best 4 to pick up. Now, Charging Wind being in at 5 is going to be great extra damage, however it's not going to be a priority over the extreme version, which is going to massively increase your shotgun damage. All of the other skills here are preferences, they're icing on the cake, and they're little bits that you can pick up as you get skill points and they become available. The lower down the list you get, the less of an impact overall it's going to have on the class. That being said, this is all speculation. Although shotgun is pretty much a no-brainer, things like evasive shot and evasive explosion shot, they're not necessarily as clear cut. You might use them a lot more in your day-to-day playstyle. You might not PvP and just grind a lot. If that's the case, then these priority lists are going to shift according to your playstyle and how you play the class. We're not going to sit here and tell you the best way to play Ranger, definitely not myself, because I honestly have no idea how to play the class. The information that I've got has come from very knowledgeable, very experienced Rangers within Alpha on the EU servers. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to put them in the comments section. If I can't answer them myself, I'll get one of the guys from Alpha to give us the information that we need. Also, there's a lot of people in the community here that are more than willing to help. If you are new to my videos and you haven't seen any of my content before and you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, feel free to share it across Discord or anywhere else that you want. I'm going to try and cover off all of the different classes Awakenings once they become available. However, it's not going to be as simple and easy to do, so it might take me a little bit of time. There's going to be a lot more Sorceress and a lot more Musa content coming in the future, and I am looking at potentially picking up a third class, at which point I'm going to be able to learn that class and write some more in-depth guides. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. The audio quality should be a huge improvement over the last couple of videos, And as always, there'll be new content coming soon.